You've tuned in to the Top 10 Gardener with garden expert Ken Lain. Join him daily as he answers timely garden questions that are sure to make a difference in your gardens. Now, welcome your host, Ken Lain.
So, as you're looking at plants, there's basically a juniper is a juniper is a juniper, but not really. A cypress is a cypress is a cypress, not really. A fruit tree is a fruit tree is a fruit, not even close. Some plants are started by seed, and they're cheaper to do by seed. So they come up fast. 5 years later, you got a tree you can actually sell at the nursery. It's a plum. The problem is when you start by seed, each seed's going to be uniquely different. There's no consistency. So it'll be just like a sea of people. Each and every one of them will be completely different. Some tall, some short, some wide, some thin, some produce like crazy, some don't. Some actually produce small fruits, some big flowers, small flowers. Some grow wispy and thin and crooked, and some grow, some grow nice and chubby and full. Out of all the plants, when you're walking through a forest and you see one, you go, whoa, that one is obviously prettier than all the others. Just like people, you kind of go, wow, that's just beautiful. And so we'll take that plant, and instead of taking seed from that plant, yes, there's propensity to have more beautiful plants coming from the seed of that particular plant. But if you could take a nice, good, let's say Arizona cypress, a nice, good, strong root structure, and then take a cutting off the very perfect, the beautiful, just like gorgeous tree. You take a cutting off that, and now you've got an exact clone. And so every single tree will look exactly like its parent. So every one will grow up exactly the same. This is really important if you have a specimen plant. You don't want variations, and you're 10 years in, you kind of go, whoa, that plant was sort of off looking when I put it in. I thought it would fill out and be nicer, but it just keeps getting uglier. That's the reason. It was started by seed, not by cuttings. If you're doing a hedgerow, you want everything to be exactly the same. You don't want a bunch of, some are big, some are small, some are thin, you want them to be clones. You want them to be exact copies so they all grow exactly the same in that particular part of the yard. This is important. You kind of want clones of things. Fruit trees. Oh, for the love of gardening, you just don't want a tree started by a peach seed. It's fun to do it in your own yard, but if you want an Alberta peach with big, juicy peaches that just melt in your mouth, there's one out there that's just over the top. It's better than the others. The fruits are better, sweeter, stronger. You want a cutting from that, and you want to grow an exact copy of that in your own yard. So you do want a grafted type of fruit tree, not a one started by seed. So the boxers will typically have seed grown because they're cheaper to do it that way. You just don't have consistency, but they're cheaper. Your garden centers are going to have a preferred variety. They're going to have clones, exact copies. And that's why our juniper trees don't cause allergies, because we're just breeding the females. The males are the ones that have all the pollen. The females have the beautiful berries. They're luscious, they're full, they're glorious, and they don't cause allergy issues. The males do. So we can control that by taking just cuttings. Whereas if we were to do seeds, we just take the berry, just put 1,000 of them out there and have them grow over 5 years. And then we bring them in and go, there, we got a cheap juniper for you. Problem is your allergies will go crazy. They'll have inconsistency. You just won't have that premier, better looking. You got $1 million house. You don't want cheap plants. You need consistent, beautiful, just consistency. You want to know what you're putting in there. If you put an orchard in, you're not going to get fruit for 5 to 7 years on an orchard by seed. And so you kind of want to know, I don't want to wait 5 years and go, oh, I hate this plum. It's terrible. This apple's awful. Oh my gosh. You want to know, I want a Granny Smith. I want it to be green. I want to be able to take that and make the best pies you've ever tasted. That's what I want. And then you get that by having grafts. And that's what you're going to find at a independent garden center, or the premier, better quality types of fruits, trees, shrubs. That's it for this show. Throughout the week, Lisa and I camp out here at Waters Garden Center, and we love talking to fans of the show.
Waters companion plants that grow well together are blaze maple, burning bush, spicy mums, glamour kale, and red wall creeper.
Waters' red wall creeper is specially selected to dress up those miles of stockade fence.
A mountain vine with rich green foliage turns fire engine red through autumn.
Water's native vines are just and both deer and rabbit proof.
You'll find the showiest vines here at Waters Garden Center.
Google, give me directions to Waters Garden Center.
If you want a more fruitful garden, increased success, and landscape that just feels better, then tune in daily to the Top 10 Garden Podcast. Years of tips, tricks, and garden shortcuts are guaranteed to make your gardens nicer than ever. Listen to this podcast or read Ken's weekly garden column by visiting watersgardencenter.com. That's Waters with 2 T's, gardencenter.com. Thanks for tuning in.